Hello, RJB here, and welcome back for yet another video by me, RJB, for RJB TV. And today we've got a blast for the past between HamburgerSasu here on the Terran, the brown Terran on the right side of the map, and on the bottom left corner we've got Misophobia, also known as DoE July, or just DoE, who is one of the biggest Starcraft Brute War fastest map streamers, averaging about 1,000 to 4,000 viewers average who are watching at a time per stream. So in total he gets like 15,000 different viewers per stream. He's a big streamer. And he is one of the best 3 versus 3 players and 2 versus 2 players within the Korean fastest map community. But his 1 versus 1 sometimes is not that great. He plays it a little bit different than most players do. He kind of adds his own flair, so to speak. Just remove that one. Alright, so HamburgerSasu is starting off with a basic build order, and I'm curious to see what DoE will do. He does add the +1 Nexus there in the back. So a little bit of more context about the game. Back when I started out casting, I think for video number 20 or so, maybe 22, I already cast this game. And I cast this entire series between these two players. It is a best of 7. No, it's a best of 5. It's a best of 5 between these two players. And I already cast the entire series. I did it in 2 parts, the first 2 games and then the last 3 games. But I made a huge mistake because something went wrong with my microphone in the second video, and there was no sound. No game sound, no mic sound, nothing at all. So I never uploaded that one, and because it was like an hour-long video, I didn't even bother recasting it. Until now. A year later, I have decided to cast this blast from the past that most people have not yet seen. So I'm kind of excited about this one, because this is a very action-packed, high-level, exciting 1 versus 1 best of 5 between 2 of the biggest names on Korean fastest map, HamburgerSasu and DoE July. So this is going to be an awesome match. Now, a small little detail that I've noticed already in this game is the zealots from Misophobia are a little bit late, they're a little bit slow on the map. And HamburgerSasu already has like 9 Marines. No, that's more than 9. He's got 10 Marines already out on the map, ready to defend. No, wait, it's 7. I'm blind. It's 10 Marines. Counting is hard sometimes. Sometimes your brain just goes haywire and it goes like, ooh, what am I seeing? I'm not sure. But it's 10 Marines right here. Now it's 13. Zealot there tries to get some information, but sees that there's simply way too many Marines to fight into. SV there getting information. Another small little detail that I want to point out is, based on the timing of his Cybercore finishing and his assimilators there coming up, he started his Cybercore before the assimilators. Usually you start the assimilators before your Cybercore, and then right about the time your Cybercore finishes, which should be right about right now, you can start building a robotic facility. But he goes for a Citadel of the Dune instead. So it all works out just fine, but nonetheless, the robo facilities, which you usually want to start before the Citadel of the Dune, if you are planning to go for a robotic facility-centric build order, for example, drops or frontal reaver push, fight happening here in the base, but it's only a couple of zealots they're fighting against Marines. Marines get micro, and they automatically win the fight just by having more units out there than those zealots do. So the zealots returning back to base. He's building another cannon there in the front, so there's 3 cannons. He's got about 4 zealots, not that many. He's got 2 more there on the way for a total of 6. Citadel of Dune is finished. He's mostly focusing on defending himself because this is an impending attack of Eternal Doom. A lot of firebats, a lot of Marines are in the mix. He doesn't have range, or does he yet? I think he does have range. Goes in for the attack. No, he does not have range. Otherwise, these Marines are not going to attack by the cannon. Lose a couple of Marines there before the fight can start. Zealots going in. Probes coming in as well to tank and buy time for cannon to take down those Marines. Marines there trying to burn through those cannons as quick as they can. in the end, the cannons and the zealots, they're coming out victorious, and those probes that are in the mix also really did make a huge difference. Because they kept those marines away from the cannons a lot of time, and they functioned as meat shields, so the cannons would never take damage. Because look at the HP on those cannons, they barely took any damage. So now we've got 2 robots there on the way in the back, a little bit late, but given the fact that HamburgerSasu just threw away his entire marine and fired up at mass, that doesn't really matter all that much. Because the defensive ability of HamburgerSasu just got reduced tremendously. But there's a trade-off. There is a trade-off. In the case that DoE went for Zealot legs and saved up his Zealots, he would have had like about 15 or something, maybe even 20, by the time he had enough Robos and Reavers out. He could have gone for a frontal attack there with Zealot speed on the front with the Reavers and the shuttles and try to break his way through. So there's kind of a two-sided benefit of what just happened. One, DoE cannot attack yet up until about 7:50 or 8 minutes in. But HamburgerSasu will have a tougher time defending against drops that are going to be coming in, because DoE is really investing extremely heavily in his drops. Like, extremely heavily. This is like all in on drops. He's not going to have any units to defend. He's going to make Templars, Zealots, and whatever you can imagine that helps with dropping, really. Once again, Dark Templar, they're trying to get information before the turret in the front there finishes, but the turret finishes just in time, although now he's attacking the depot, but it's just within the range, so he's forced to pull back. Quick reaction there from DoE, managed to keep it alive. Dark Templar, they're just going to sit in the front, keep getting information. Scan has just been used. I think he used it around here. So he saw the 2 Stargates there. He didn't really see much else. He saw the Cybercore, maybe a Robo and a Citadel as well. But those 2 were a given. He didn't see anything here in the front because he hasn't scanned that yet. So he doesn't know the timing of the drops just yet. Because if he saw shuttles there, he of course knows that a drop is very soon to be flying in. But the timing of the drop is very, very late. But it's going to be a pretty big drop because there's 6 Templars there in the front. He's got more Templars and Zealots now on the way as well. 2 Templars, 4 Zealots. I suspect it's going to be a 8 Templar shuttle drop. Corsairs there, of course, coming into the mix as well. Got a dropship there on the way, or dropship is already finished, moving across the map there with 2 tanks in it, carrying them into the base. Gets found by a Corsair there though, and is going to try to find a way around, but the Corsair just going to keep chasing it and keep attacking it little bit by little bit as it gets closer and closer to the base. Going to find another Corsair there, so this might even go down before it arrives, or even gets its tanks off on the ground within range of the probes. Tries to go in nonetheless. Loads of tanks there. Not gonna get much done. They're gonna roll out of the cannons, but it's gonna meet some Zealots there instead, and another cannon as well. So instead, it just functions as a very expensive scouting movement. But you know, sometimes it's just worth trying to at least get a tank drop out. But DoE is really playing very defensive here, spending all his minerals very well. Got the drop finished up there. He's flying out of the base. He's got shuttle speed finishing up right about now. He's got Dragooners on the range as well. And he's got Zealot speed legs on the way too. So we count 8 Templars there in the shuttles, which is going to be absolutely monstrous of a storm drop. Because as it comes in, you can pretty much storm every single little bit of surface area here in the base of HamburgerSasu. Comes in from the top side there, finds a wide open hole there on the side. Changes direction, comes in a little bit closer, gonna go all the way, starts unloading the shuttle drop. What's it gonna be? What is he gonna hit? It's submarines. It's submarines. SCVs are still there on the minerals. Now more Temples are loading. There's 2 storms, 3 storms there in total, and he hits pretty much everything that he can. That is an absolutely amazing storm drop there from DoE. He really is a storm drop specialist, I have to admit. Like, HamburgerSasu just tried to play that way too greedy, keeping his SCVs on the minerals until the very last moment. And by then it was already too late, because there were 8 Templars in the shuttles, which is way more than you would expect. You would expect at most 2 or 4, but never 8. And I think that is the surprise that DoE cooped up for his opponent. Comes in with a drop there from the bottom right. Once again, finds a nice open hole. Marines are moving in, ready to storm. DoE flies around it. DoE, HamburgerSasu on the chase. DoE lands. DoE got a storm. Storms the Marines. Doesn't storm the SCVs there. The shuttle died, so 2 more Templars were still stuck inside the shuttle as it died. But at least he got the Marines. Still, HamburgerSasu buys himself some time. DoE kills Marines, which makes defending a little bit harder from now on. HamburgerSasu is chasing the shuttle, but the drop is coming in from the bottom side at the same time, and DoE knows now that the Marines are on the top side of the base, so he can fly from the bottom side. Very easily arrives on the scene, gets closer to the SCVs, unloads his Templars, 1 Templar, 2 Templars, 4 Templars, 5 Templars, 4 Templars in total, gets all the storms off and hits all the SCVs, all the SCVs there go down. Another storm drop comes in from the top side as well. That's another 4 Templars there, storming everything that they can. What? So many storms, another 7 kills, storms everywhere. HamburgerSasu did not stand a chance with, I think he got already stormed by 4, 8. He got stormed by 12 Templars already before 10 minutes. And pretty much every single storm hit something. Not a single one was wasted. But that's really well played by DoE here, who already has a pretty big base finished up already. And it also means that the score for game number 1 is going to be 1-0 in favor of DoE, who really managed to hit pretty hard there. He hit him pretty hard. And that means we're going for game number 2. Really impressed there by those storm drops. He really is a storm specialist. Alright, let's see how game number 2 is... Oh wait, I forgot to select the other replay. Alright, let's see how the real game number 2 is going to play out. HamburgerSasu this time around on the Protoss, on the bottom left of the map, bottom right of the map, and DoE on the bottom left. I'm gonna fix this little score thing here on the side. I want to get it exactly right. Right above the... Yeah, that should do. Right above the... Just there. I usually never use the score thing there on the side, but I figured we might as well just throw it in there. For visibility's sake, or something, or clarity's sake. Not sure what you want to call it. So HamburgerSasu there, yeah, not really any information from this guy yet here. The score is 1-0. DoE just won it with, I think, 3 storm drops. Although it was a lot of storms, like, a lot of storms. 12 storms in total. So we can already determine that DoE is pretty good at Protoss, with storms specifically, and with macro as well. His micro, I didn't really get to see any of it last game. There was no micro on his end. So can't really say much about that. But we know that he knows what he's doing. That's at least the bottom line that we learned, because you don't get as good at this guy if you don't know what you're doing. That's a fact. 3 barracks is coming out for him. We've got 2 gateways for HamburgerSasu. We don't see a Nexus yet, but the Nexus now coming out here as well. But that's a main big difference that we saw last game between HamburgerSasu and DoE. DoE went for a Nexus into 2 gateways, but HamburgerSasu is going for 2 gateways into a Nexus, which is a way more common and proven strong build order, where the Zealots come out onto the map right at about the point that the Terran only has a single or 2 Marines out on the map. So by the time these 2 Zealots arrive here in the base, it'll be 5 Marines against 2 Zealots. Or maybe 6. Depends really on whether that Marine that we're looking at right here, right now, makes it back alive to the base or gets eaten up by those Zealots. Specifically by their beautiful side blades. He's on the chase, going in, looking for something to kill. Gets on top of the Marines, but the Marine micro there from DoE is pretty darn good. Keeps most of the Marines there alive. Hasn't lost a single Marine yet. Although there's the first one. Gonna try to get number 2 as well, but that's 2 Marines for 2 Zealots. not a lot got achieved. Zealot SV there getting into the base, getting information. Cybercore and Forge are on the way. Zealot's now once again fighting against the Marines. This time around, the Marines are low HP, and DoE is not microing. He didn't spot it until it was already too late. Lost most of the Marines, but more Marines are arriving there to the fight. Gonna try to fight back, but the micro, once again, pretty darn good micro there from DoE. Only loses a single Marine there to the Zealots. The Zealots now coming back in once again. Walks into Marines once again. And this time around, once again, DoE is going to lose some of his Marines. And the Zealots are just having a field day. Trying to get in. He didn't finish him off. That's a lot of low HP Marines. Pretty much every single Marine, except this one there in the back, took some damage. This one's going to get some information there, though. Academy there on the way to command centers as well. He's splitting up his depots, and like most players who build them all in one location on the bottom side, but he's building some on the top side there as well. More Zealots, of course, coming in, but this time around there's too many Marines for these two Zealots to really do anything against. He's going to try to do it nonetheless, though. He's going to try to get information just to be annoying, buy himself some time as he gets his Citadel of Doom and his Robo Auxiliary up. Only got a single cannon there in the front, because he knows he's keeping DoE busy with those Zealots, and as long as those Zealots keep DoE busy, those Marines cannot move out to attacks. The Engineering Bay there on the way. We don't see a factory yet. Most of the time, the Terran goes for a second refinery after they have started both command centers, which helps them get up their factory there in the front. Stim Academy there coming up in the back as well. I can already predict the factory being late as proving to be a trouble and a problem for DoE as the game progresses past the 6-minute point. Because I already know which build order HamburgerSasu is going for, and he's one of the best players at this specific build order. Kills both the SVs that are in the front, so the wall is getting delayed, which means 2 more SVs are going to be moving to the front there to finish that wall. Scan comes down from DoE, scans the main, sees the Citadel, the support bay. Sees that there's no cannons too, but I don't see a factory yet, so no tank drop coming in from DoE anytime soon. We've got 5 Zealots there in the front, 1 there in front of the base as well, so that's 6 Zealots. We've got more of them on the way. We've got 2 shuttles there, but 1 shuttle, 2 Reavers. The Reavers are queued up a little bit slowly. They could have been queued up way earlier, but HamburgerSasu's got his plans. He can execute this still with great accuracy. Level 1 weapon there on the way for the Zealots. Speed also in the queue. 2 more assimilators coming out at 550. Because he needs more gas for what is coming after his first attack. 2 Reavers almost finished. Shuttle speed there also queued up. Everything will, I think, more or less line up at about the same time. By the time he arrives here in the front, he might finish his level 1 weapon attack for Zealots, and everything will work out just fine. Templar's Archive also on the way, another pilot in the front, because he's going to build more robos here, I feel. So there's a choker in the front for DoE, but the tank is not yet out of the map. And that is a huge problem, because no tank means no ranged attack on the Reavers from a safe distance with the tank shots. Instead, now we see HamburgerSasu alone with the Reavers here in the front, and he's going to be able to kill everything here in the front without much trouble, because these Marines don't want to fight against those Reavers or against those Zealots, and the Zealots are coming in as well. Marines in the bunkers with Stim, they're attacking. The Zealots are pulling back. That's a huge shot there on the Marines and on the bunkers. The wall is already completely broken. More units in the base are being built. Got Stormpick on the way and 2 more Reavers also queued up. Gonna have to kill this turret if he wants to keep microing his shuttle with the Reavers. He keeps dancing back and forth. More Zealots arrive on the scene. I think he does have about 13 Zealots here on the scene now. He's going into the base. DoE is repositioning his Marines behind the factory, spreading them out quite nicely. 2 Reavers are in the scene, but the Scarab is not going to explode. That's a huge save there for DoE. The Scarab not exploding really helps him out. And the Reavers get about as many kills as DoE would want them to. So the Reavers don't really get any results whatsoever. Cannot shoot on the SPs because it ran out of Scarabs. And in the end, DoE manages to keep himself afloat. Does lose the front, does lose I think about 20 Marines in the process as well. Lost 2 tanks Only has a single tank there in the back, but the fact that he has no choke is a huge, huge weakness. A huge liability that he's going to have to take care of. Zealots and Reavers coming into the base. Zealots tanking the shuttle. Reavers unloading. Reavers Scarabs chasing the Marines. But the Marines are going to stay alive for sure. Once again, the Reaver Scarabs not connecting. But he finds himself a nice little hole here on the bottom side. Going to kill those turrets. So that the shuttle can fly in completely safely. The Reavers going to load there on the low ground. Reavers going to shoot on the Marines. Although there's tanks shooting on the Reavers as well. Picks up the Reavers. Bell's going to fly close to the bottom corner here in the bottom side. A lot of Reavers. Ooh, the Scarab hit there was absolutely massive. Even get some on those as well. That's really delayed Scarab explosions hitting. Usually, if it takes that long, the Scarabs are not going to hit. But HamburgerSasu is getting some karma in his favor for all those Scarabs that didn't hit anything earlier. Tanks are getting closer. Tanks are in range to hit the Reavers, but we've got a drop there on the way, on the middle of the map, and this is what we're going to be looking at, because this is what's important. Although he's walking with his Zealots, he's distracting DoE from the drop, and now the drop comes in for the top side. Reavers are unloaded, 2 Reavers, 2 Templars, hits 3 Templars, hits pretty much everything that he can, and that's a lot of dead SCVs there for DoE, although he managed to dodge at least a stack of SCVs there to safety. But that's a lot of lost income, a lot of lost depots, and another drop there coming in for the bottom side. This is with the Reaver. Reaver unloads. Reaver unloads. Reaver gets taken down before it can unload all over those poor SCVs. And that's another attack repelled. Although, can you really call it repelled when so many SCVs go down? So many turrets, marines, engineering bays, barracks, and depots all went down. He's building new depots here on the top side, but this is pretty exposed given that the front is completely open. So DoE might be facing an attack from HamburgerSasu, where HamburgerSasu just walks in through the base here on the top side, sets up shop, and attacks from the top side. You can do the same here on the bottom side, but if he sets up here on the bottom side, these tanks can hit his units. Here on the top side, he can safely set up shop before those tanks can target and attack his units. And he's going to do exactly that, I assume, because he knows that if there's a hole here in the front, you might as well abuse it. He's building a lot of gateways, massing out a lot of gateway units, getting a couple of Reavers and drops at the same time as well. Although this is mostly distraction shuttles, these are actually completely empty. Because he believes he needs more supply space, because he has so many shuttles already there. Moves out with the Dragoons and the Zealots. They are on level 1 attack damage, level 2 almost on the way. We've got Scarab damage also being researched. So he really is setting himself up for a really great and strong, amazing attack on his adversary, who is now building somewhat of a wall here in the front of starports where the drop comes in from the bottom side. They can intercept the 5 Marines and all the shuttles go down, but all the shuttles were empty. Oh, he sees that he can't really go in, so he's going to relocate his units here to the top side. Drop is going in from the top, but now he flies back. Doesn't want to go in just yet. He knows that DoE is waiting to snipe those shuttles, so he's going to do some damage first. Now he goes in. Goes from the top side. One of the shuttles goes down. He's unloading right next to the command center. Everything dies before he can storm on the SV's door or kill anything of significance, but at least he cleared out a couple of buildings there in the front and some tanks as well. So he did deal some damage. Not a lot of damage. But, you know, some damage is better than no damage whatsoever. But the downside of all this for DoE is that DoE at the moment didn't manage to build anything onto his base during that entire exchange, whereas HamburgerSasu added on 4 more gateways and has remassed up to almost maximum supply capacity during that same amount of time. He's got 4 shuttles on the way there as well, which are going to spell trouble because I see 4 Reavers, and it's going to be, well, 4 Reavers, 8 Zealots inside those shuttles. Maybe a couple of Templars as well. Not sure what his plans are. Not sure what his plans are. He's got 2 coursers there in the mix as well. He's moving out with his Zealots and his Dragoons, going straight for the attack. Spreads them out by walking them into the middle and then changing their direction straight for the base. Instead of just balling them all up, he spreads them out just a little bit. He's going to walk into this top portion here again. There's a lot of Marines there, but the Marines are going to be needing a lot of units that they don't want to be fighting against. Unloads the Reavers, picks them back up because he knows that there's nothing to fire on. These depots in the tops are completely exposed, and HamburgerSasu knows, so he's unloading his reavers and he's going straight for those depots, and those depots are going to go down, and DoE is going to get some life ducts, so every single unit that DoE now loses cannot be replaced. More units on the way from the base, he's maximum supply. DoE is quickly rebuilding depots on the bottom side, building armories as well, building factories here too. But this is a pretty weak spot. Like, this is really strong because it's really hard to get on this, because the buildings are blocking so much access to those units. But here, this is very weak, very exposed, wide open. Goes in for the attack, Shuttle's coming at the same time as well. He's stacking them up, goes in, he's unloading. Tempos will unload almost. He storms on the SCVs and he kills about 20 or so. So pretty good storm there, killed a lot of units as well. Approaching, killed all the depots, but more depots are being built here on the bottom side, but the minerals for DoE are tragically low. Tragically low. Factories are finishing up though. He finally finished the armory so he can get level 1 attack damage for his tanks, but HamburgerSasu is already on level 1, 1, 2, because he does have 3 forges. So he's very healthy, very strong. He just queued up shields and armor as well. Weapon almost finished already. He's getting air armor for his shuttles, so the shuttles don't get taken down too quick. He already has level 1 shields for his air though. He's getting stasis as well. Where is the Arbiter Tribunal? Where is it? I don't see it. But he's getting it though. I just don't see it. I'm blind. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Pesky little thing was hiding. So yeah, 41 against 80 workers. That is a huge difference. Drop there on the bottom side. Loaded up, ready to fly out and attack. At the same time as this frontal attack is going to be waltzing in through the front door, which is still wide open. It's basically a wide open valley, inviting in your enemy. It's so inviting. You just want to walk through it and use it. And ooh, the spread on those zealots is amazing. Comes in with the attack, gets down all the tanks. The shuttles are coming into the bottom side. The SV's already run away. But that's a lot of storms, and he's going to storm on nothing. That is called an SCV. Although he's saving up some of the storms, it looks like it. Although, oh no, the Zealots are getting on top of the SCVs, and all the units have died there in the back as well. There's only a couple of tanks left alive, but all the Zealots are getting on top of the tanks. Now the Zealots are in the back here on top of those SCVs as well. There's only 3 raids there trying to kill those Zealots as quick as they can, but the Zealots don't really take much damage from those raids, because they have some armor, some shields, and some weapons. Weapons are tearing through everything they can see. That's 6 extra damage. Another drop there already on the way. What's in there? I want to know. Oh, he's going in with some Zealots first. He's unloading Zealots on top of the tanks, going in there, clearing some space. Now goes in with its Storm Drop. He takes down one of the shuttles, but the Storm comes down on the SCVs, and he kills most of the remaining SCVs, and that's a huge hit that DoE would have rather avoided. And HamburgerSasu is using his time to build all over the map. DoE knows it's over, and he calls the GG. And that is a 1-1 score for this, well, best of 5. Of which we have now only just seen the first 2 games. That was really well played by HamburgerSasu. That is some solid mechanical execution. Micro planning, attention to detail, great, amazing build order. DoE fought really well. I'm honestly impressed. He has played better than he has in most of his games. But, you know, playing well is not enough. Against players like HamburgerSasu, you have to play the best you can without a mistake. And some mistakes DoE really made was getting a very late and slow factory by not getting 2 refineries right after he built 2 command centers. And that really made the game easy for HamburgerSasu. Like, HamburgerSasu just had to keep attacking non-stop, keep abusing, keep finding weak points. But he was always in the advantage. He had a huge advantage for most of the game. And HamburgerSasu equalizes the score by just continuously finding a way to break through and deal damage. So that's part 1 of this series. Tomorrow I'm going to do part 2, because part 2 is going to be about an hour long, and I kind of have to go to bed. I kind of have to go to sleep. it's pretty late already, and I want to be fresh for the remaining games between these two behemoths of players. So come back once again, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe, do what you want, and I'll keep on delivering the goods. I'll keep on making content like this that I hope you will sincerely enjoy. Because boy, I sure do enjoy casting. And watching at these replays and just, being amazed and impressed by how well these players can play Starcraft. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video because as I have said sometimes before, I am pretty bad at ending videos. Not too great at that specifically. Update the score though before I go. Just going to turn it into 1-1. That's it, 1-1. And goodbye.